If you wore a monitor or a meter like the one to measure your oxygen level or heart rate, but it measured your positive and negative frequencies that your body emits, what would you register today? Go ahead and answer that while I welcome you to this Calm in the Chaos Interfaith Center God Talk, a place where we believe that it is possible to stay calm in our hearts while living in the chaos of the real world. All things are made of molecules that are constantly moving. Even the table at which I'm sitting, which appears to be solid and very stable, is actually moving. And with that movement, all things give off a frequency. I believe quantum physics tells us that everything is vibration. Vibrating objects, simply by their nature, emit sound waves. And when we can hear those waves, we assign terms to them. Terms like noise, clash, a D flat, a human voice, and so on. Now, moving into another realm of spirituality colliding with physics, we're going to see a chart of emotional frequencies. Our bodies, emotions, and thoughts work together to vibrate our very beings with energy. That energy translates into frequencies, which means how fast something vibrates. On the piano, for instance, the note A above middle C, the note that orchestral string instruments tune to, has the frequency of 440, meaning that what we hear is a tone that is caused by the air vibrating 440 times a second around that string. Our bodies emit frequencies imperceptible to the human ear. In the 1960s and 70s, there was a slang term that sort of denoted what one felt around another human being they liked. It was said that the person gave off good vibes. Now, I didn't know anything about quantum physics back then, but someone who coined the phrase must have known something. We in this industrialized country, with every iota of information at our fingertips, have allowed the intuition of reading other people's vibrations and our own to be left along the roadside. We depend on other people's research and opinions to formulate our own thoughts when we have at our disposal a very real way to read another person if we only tapped into it. Shamans and others who can see auras, frequencies, and activity not readily available to our five senses have not left intuition by the roadside. They, in fact, may have enhanced their gifts and skills by studying to open themselves even more. On this chart, note that enlightenment is the highest frequency we can resonate. Spiritual enlightenment is not to be confused with the age of enlightenment, where it meant something to be rational, reasonable, and factually well informed. Spiritual enlightenment is akin to being fully awake to the world around you and to the world within you. According to Deepak Chopra, an Indian American expert in alternative medicine, there are ways of being that can move us towards enlightenment. Here they are. First, observing our patterns of living. Notice our behaviors and our responses to the world. Instead of just floating through life on autopilot, be aware of the details, the choices that we're making along the way. Next, connecting to all of humanity, thinking, how do I relate to this other human being? What do I have in common with her? Versus drawing a line in the sand and disconnecting us from one another. Next, detaching from the ways that we define ourselves and try to see ourselves as souls, as entities that are beyond all definitions that we've created. So drop the labels. Instead of, I'm a musician, I'm a vegan, I'm the middle child, I'm an addict, I vote blue, I drive only Chevys, I'm my husband's caretaker, I love cats, I'm a marathon runner, I'm smart. Drop those for a while and think who you are without all of that. A soul that is nothing but love and light. Next, holding a peaceful countenance no matter what. It means that when life throws us a curveball, we don't plummet into depression or fly into a fit of rage. Oh, we can still get upset, but we are peaceful at our core and deal with it. Next is trusting our intuition more. Everything has energy and everything's vibrating. When those vibrations can be felt spiritually or heard spiritually from miles away, we have to trust that. When we're receiving a message through a dream or feeling something, or when the phone rings and somebody's there and you know who it is before you answer, trust this intuition. Next is noticing our increasing synchronicity in life. It's when things unexpectedly coincide, like hearing a song about Tennessee and then seeing a Tennessee license plate in front of you. Synchronicities are the universe's way of unfolding mystery, and to become enlightened, we need to pay attention to this. Pay attention to the synchronicities in our lives and try to figure out what they're telling us. Next is increasing our own compassion for ourselves and for others. For ourselves is so important. Compassion, giving ourselves grace, the grace to not be perfect, the grace to not even be good at everything, the grace to just be. Next is loosening and eventually removing our fear of dying. When we focus on the present, and I mean really stop projecting into the future with expectations and really letting go of past hurts and disappointments, learning how to heal them so we can focus on the present, we can release our fears of almost everything. Looking at death as a move from one room into another room, or from one life form into another life form, can reduce our fear. And we can learn how to embrace the sacredness of the process. Finally, embracing a sense of well-being. Health of body and health of mind often go hand in hand. So, how to get us to that enlightened area of the chart where our frequencies are so very high is not a mystery. The strategies are the ones that we've heard for optimum health of body, mind, and soul. Things like laughing more, substituting gratitude for complaining, connecting with our community more, spending time outside and spending time in solitude. Spiritual leader Eckhart Tolle says, you find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level. If we can emanate those high frequency characteristics by first holding them as valuable in our lives, we can change the world, or at least our little corner of it. In my observation, it does seem that Indigenous people and non-industrialized communities tend to focus more on joy than on negativity. I offer you the concept of Ubuntu. It's not new. And this isn't the first time it's shown up in a God talk. It's that important. Ubuntu is a noun from ancient Africa, meaning a quality that includes the essential human virtues, compassion, and humanity. There are 5 core values of Ubuntu, and they are survival, spirit of solidarity, compassion, respect, and dignity. In other words, everything necessary for a healthy community of humans. The word reminds us that each of us who are who we are because of the collection of who we all are. We didn't get where we are alone. I feel that adopting a philosophy of Ubuntu would lead us to more joy and more peace, despite our varying political stances, our religious paths, and the many other ways that we set ourselves apart from one another. Ubuntu can promote a level of coexistence and unification that might move us all into a healthier country and world. When frequencies rise, it is palpable. When good news is received, we can feel the tone of the room, of the family, of the country change. The frequency rises, the air is clearer, and we feel more of the other high frequencies. When we're in a state of grief, it may be more difficult for us to receive love and to feel true joy, to move into that frequency area, because we're always vibrating with some sort of energy, always. We are always somewhere on the chart. It has been well documented by Dan Buettner, the man who studied the 5 blue zones in the world, places where people consistently live healthy lives beyond 100, that joy and a sense of community will definitely promote well-being. Let's reread the Book of Joy by Desmond Tutu and the Dalai Lama. Let's laugh more no matter what. Let's raise all of our frequencies and one another's frequencies. Now, all of this is not to discount the very real ways that our minds and bodies respond to the world, sometimes by being unwell. But when there is a choice of responding to a situation with acceptance or guilt, let's choose acceptance. When we have a choice of seeing another person through a lens of apathy or a lens of love, choose love. Love, joy, peace, enlightenment. Let's go there.